Hello there, my name is Lilith and I'm the creator behind fashion art label Zigenthaler based in Australia. Today I'm going to be showing you how I painted graffiti on these insane boots. I've been doing a couple of tutorials lately, but for these shoes I decided to do something different. Instead of making a full-on tutorial, I will just talk about like my inspiration, how I develop a graffiti style, and sort of give you a couple of pointers on how you can use elements like direction and color and concept to hopefully aspire to create a little project like this. If you'd like to see how I painted these and basically the design process into creating these heels, please keep watching. I thrifted these heels from Savers in Melbourne. It's a giant thrift store. I saw them and they were my size, and even though this would never be a shoe that I would ever wear, I just saw them and I was like, these are insane. These are awesome shoes and I know that I could probably do something really cool. Got a really nice faux snake skin texture. I love just like this massive platform and the wedge here. There is just a maximum surface area to paint on. So I bought these and I've probably had them in my closet for like 2 years. And yeah, and then when I was just figuring out what I would do next for a video, I decided that I would just experiment with some graffiti and paint on these heels. One of the most effective things I find when you are painting graffiti is definitely style. Style is so important. It sort of helps you create something, a piece of art that is consistent and is presenting an idea, but the idea is so well packaged and presented that it just looks so whole and just complete. I'm gonna go through how I sort of developed my graffiti and like how you could probably use these tips to help you if you want to get into painting graffiti. I've been painting graffiti for a long time. I think I've definitely been inspired by graffiti in the place that I live, which is Melbourne. Inspiration is always very fresh here because there is street art on every corner, especially in the suburb that I live in. In regards to bubble graffiti, I think I obviously developed a sort of appreciation for this and then sort of started to analyze it a little bit more and see what I liked in different graffiti and what I didn't like. I mean, I've always tended to go with very long, drawn out words rather than round and bubbly. I like my bubble graffiti to be very edgy, very aggressive, and I think to tie in with the concept of these boots because they are snakeskin. The word viper was coming out in my mind in regards to what word I wanted to do, but viper isn't really a big word. But then I ended up going with the word venomous, especially the motif of a lot of these points and just like long drawn out letters. I really wanted it to sort of emulate fangs and sort of resonate that aggressiveness because I think these are quite aggressive boots. I love tying femininity and aggression, or you could almost argue it's like the balance between masculinity and femininity in a piece of art. What I try to do is when I do plan out my words, I grab something like a motif and I try to consistently keep that within each letter so that as a whole piece, when you actually paint to your word, it's consistent and it looks good to the eye. I obviously sketched up my word venomous first and I actually did spell it incorrectly the first time, and I'm so glad I picked up on that before I painted it on my shoes. As I said, developing different motifs like the fang-like edges, you know, they're like teeth. Obviously, if you're doing your own, you could do something like very round edges, or like instead of doing long elongated letters, you might do really wide ones. You just want to make sure that whatever, when I say style and refer to motifs, it's just sort of like the sort of features that you want your words to be like. If I feel like it, maybe in the future I will do like a proper graffiti tutorial. So yeah, the style in the shape is something that you definitely need. You want to make sure that you master that to create a really awesome piece. In regards to color, one of the things that I've always really liked is the sort of gradient in color. I think it gives the design a lot of depth, and you will obviously see that with both of these shoes I do like an ombre or a gradient within the letters here. So obviously starting off with a dark pink color and then fading it down with white, and then with this one warm yellow and fading it up with an orange. I just think that it just gives a different dimension to the words in general, and it just adds a little bit of shading, just adds a little bit more of interest when it comes to painting graffiti. In these shoes, or if you're working with, say, a fabric and you're painting on a fabric that already has like a design on it, I think black is quite imperative, because you want the words to be able to stand out and be emphasized. I do know in a lot of bubble graffiti designs, artists won't use black necessarily. They might use, depending on their color scheme, they might use like a dark blue or a dark green, or even a light color that is quite contrasting to the rest of the piece. But I think as a beginner, or at least for where I'm at now, I always make sure I use black. And I make sure I use black in shading the letters as well. So once I laid down the basic color of the graffiti tag, I then went in with my black and did the shading. The shading's obviously sort of electing one side of the letter to have a sort of darker shadow coming out from it, and then doing that consistently across the whole word. Just like the color gives it depth, it makes it look a little bit more, it stands out a little bit more, it looks a little bit more 3D, and just gives that little bit of edge to your artwork. So yep, then when I went in with the black, I have a tendency at the moment to then go around with a lighter color just for that extra poppiness. With this pink one, I did it with like a lilac, a very light pale purple. And then obviously with this yellow one, I did it with a fluoro yellow, like a buttercup yellow. And then because I had shimmer paints, I actually went around with a shimmer. I thought it would be a very good transition shade between the saturated colors of the graffiti and then the pattern of the snakeskin underneath. As you can see here, it just sort of adds a little bit of a transition between these sharp lines and the fabric of the shoe, and it just also gives it a nice little, see that little glisten? So yeah, I did a lilac, a purple shimmer color for this one. You can still sort of see it, but I did this one with a gold, staying true to the color scheme of this side. And that is literally the graffiti boots that I painted. Oh my god, if I have like a photo shoot, I actually had to turn down a runway recently. It is currently the Melbourne Fashion Festival. I sort of decided not to do it, and obviously because of a couple of changes I'm going through in my life. If I do end up doing something for Spring Fashion Week, holy moly, these would be so cool. Awesome, I hope you liked this video and appreciate all of this information. I do a lot of other graffiti works. I did a Berlin jacket, you can watch a video on that. I also do a lot of other graffiti style works, so definitely make sure to check that out if this is the sort of stuff that you like. Please make sure to subscribe, and I will definitely see you in my next video. Ciao!